Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about one of the most interesting coins from the 1960s, the 1966 Washington quarter. You may have seen stories or videos online claiming that some of these coins are worth tens of thousands of dollars, even up to $23,000 for a single coin. That sounds amazing, right? But the truth is that while most 1966 quarters are common and worth only face value, a few special examples can really be worth that much depending on condition, grade, or rare minting errors. In this video, we're going to explore the history of this coin, how to identify the rare versions, and the real values, from just 25 cents all the way up to $23,000. The year 1966 was a unique time in U.S. coinage history. Just 1 year earlier, the U.S. Mint had stopped using silver in quarters, switching instead to a copper-nickel-clad composition. That means the 1966 quarter contains no silver. During this time, the Mint was also dealing with coin shortages, so from 1965 through 1967, they decided to remove all Mint marks from coins. Because of that, every 1966 quarter has no Mint mark, even though they were made in multiple mints. So if your 1966 quarter doesn't have a Mint mark, don't worry, that's completely normal. On the front of the coin, you'll see the familiar portrait of George Washington designed by John Flanagan. On the back, there's an eagle with its wings spread, holding arrows and olive branches. The design was used for decades, so it's one of the most recognizable coins in U.S. history. The 1966 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams and is made of copper and nickel bonded to a pure copper core. Because there's no silver content, most 1966 quarters are only worth their face value unless they're in excellent condition or have an error. The U.S. Mint made over 821 million 1966 quarters, which means there are still plenty of them out there. If you find one in your change, chances are it's worth 25 cents. But the story doesn't end there. Some of these coins, especially those in mint condition or with rare errors, can be worth much more. Coins that have been used in circulation, those that look dull, scratched, or worn, are called circulated coins. Circulated 1966 quarters are worth between 25 cents and $1 at most. But if your coin still looks shiny and new, it might be considered uncirculated. Uncirculated coins can be worth between $2 and $10 depending on how clean, bright, and mark-free they appear. Now let's talk about what makes some 1966 quarters valuable. Collectors pay the most for coins that are in top condition, especially those certified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. A regular 1966 quarter graded mint state 65, which means it's nearly perfect, can be worth around $20 to $70. Coins graded MS-67 or MS-68 are extremely rare and can bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In fact, a 1966 quarter graded MS-68 has sold at auction for over $20,000, with one record example reaching about $23,000. That's the kind of coin collectors dream about finding. Besides condition, there are also special error coins that make some 1966 quarters valuable. One type of error is called a double die, which happens when the coin design is struck twice, causing the letters or numbers to appear doubled. If you notice doubling on "Liberty in God We Trust" or other parts of the coin, you might have one of these errors. A strong double die example in good condition can be worth several $100s or even more. Another error that can raise value is an off-center strike, where the design is not properly centered. Slightly off-center coins might be worth around $50 to $100, but if the strike is dramatically off, it could reach $500 or more, especially if the date is still visible. Some 1966 quarters were also struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the metal blank intended for another coin was used by mistake. For example, a 1966 quarter accidentally struck on a dime or cent planchet is smaller and lighter than normal. These errors can bring values from a few $100s up to several thousand depending on the exact type and condition. There are even reports of extremely rare off-metal errors, where a 1966 quarter was struck on a silver planchet, similar to the older 90% silver quarters. These are exceptionally rare and can reach values close to $10,000 or more if authenticated. Collectors also look for coins from the 1966 special mint set, often called SMS coins. Because the mint didn't issue proof sets in 1965, 1966, or 1967, they made special mint sets instead. These coins have a satin-like finish and were struck with extra care. A 1966 special mint set quarter in perfect condition, graded SP67 or SP68, can be worth from $30 to several $100s. An ultra-high-grade example might even bring over $1,000 at auction, depending on demand and certification. When examining your 1966 quarter, here are a few tips. First, check the edge of the coin. A normal 1966 quarter should have a visible copper stripe along the edge, which is the copper core showing through. If it looks solid silver, weigh it on a precise scale. A regular 1966 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams, but a silver one would weigh around 6.25 grams. If your coin is heavier and appears silver all the way through, it might be a rare mint error struck on a leftover silver planchet. In that case, definitely get it checked by a professional coin dealer or grading company. Next, use a magnifying glass to look closely at the details. Pay attention to the letters, numbers, and edges for signs of doubling, extra metal, or other unusual features. Any irregularity could mean you have an error coin worth more than face value. If you think your coin might be valuable, never clean it. Cleaning can scratch the surface and reduce the coin's value significantly. Instead, handle it carefully by the edges and store it in a soft coin holder or plastic sleeve to protect it. If you want to know the exact value of your coin, consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can professionally evaluate its condition, verify any errors, and give it a certified grade. Coins that are graded and sealed in official holders often sell for much more than ungraded ones, especially if they reach high mint state grades like MS67 or MS68. Let's review the possible values. A circulated 1966 quarter is worth 25 cents to $1. An uncirculated one ranges from $2 to $10. A special mint set coin might bring $5 to $30, and a high-grade SMS quarter could be worth several $100s. Error coins like double dies or off-center strikes can range from $100 to $1,000 or more depending on the strength of the error and the condition. A wrong planchet error can fetch between $2,000 and $10,000. And finally, the rarest 1966 quarters, those struck on a silver planchet or graded in near-perfect MS68 condition, can sell for as much as $20,000 to $23,000. So, while most 1966 quarters are common and only worth their face value, there are a few out there that can be worth thousands. It all depends on the coin's condition, any rare minting errors, and whether it has been professionally graded. These coins are a fascinating part of American history, marking the transition from silver to clad coinage. They remind us of a changing time in the U.S. Mint when production methods and materials were evolving. Next time you come across a 1966 quarter in your change, don't just spend it right away. Take a closer look. It might just be one of those rare and valuable pieces that collectors are looking for. If you think you have something special, have it authenticated before you sell it. You never know, your quarter could be one of the few worth thousands, maybe even close to $23,000. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope this helped you understand the true value of the 1966 Washington quarter, and what to look for. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends who love coins. And if you have a 1966 quarter, tell us in the comments, maybe yours could be one of the valuable ones. Take care, everyone, and happy coin collecting. The 1964 Jefferson Nickel is one of the most talked about coins from the United States, especially because some people have heard that one of these nickels sold for $32,900. That is a very large amount of money for a 5-cent coin, so it makes people curious. Is that true? Can a 1964 nickel really be worth that much? Or is it just a regular coin worth only 5 cents? Let's talk about what makes this coin interesting, why most of them are not valuable, and what special things can make a few worth thousands of dollars. We will go through everything in simple words so that everyone can understand clearly. The Jefferson nickel is a coin that has been made in the United States since 1938. It shows a picture of Thomas Jefferson on the front side, which is called the obverse. On the back side, called the reverse, there is a picture of Jefferson's house, which is named Monticello. The coin says, United States of America, e pluribus unum, and 5 cents. The 1964 D nickel has a small letter, D, on the right side of Monticello. That letter tells us that this coin was made at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint made a very large number of these coins, more than 1.7 billion of them. That is one of the biggest mintages ever for a Jefferson nickel. Because so many were made, it means most of them are very common. Millions and millions are still around today. In 1964, there was a coin shortage in the United States, and the government wanted to make sure that people had enough coins to use in daily life. For that reason, the Mint produced a lot of coins that year. They even stopped making proof coins for collectors so that they could focus on making more coins for circulation. So, if you find a 1964 D nickel in your change, that is normal. It was made to be used, not saved as a rare coin. Most of these coins have been in circulation for a long time, so they show signs of wear. You might see scratches, dull color, or smooth areas where the details have been rubbed off. Those are all signs of use. Coins like that are called circulated coins. A circulated 1964 D nickel is usually worth its face value of 5 cents, or maybe a few cents more to a collector who needs one in a set. But that's all. Now, even though most 1964 D nickels are common, there are a few special ones that can be worth much more. The big reason some coins are valuable is their condition. Condition means how well the coin has been preserved since it was made. Coins that have never been used and still look shiny are called uncirculated coins. These are worth more because they show all the details clearly. The very best examples are graded by professional coin grading companies like PCGS Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC Numismatic Guarantee Company. These companies check the coin under magnification and give it a grade on a scale from 1 to 70. A perfect coin with no marks would be graded MS70, which stands for Mint State 70. Most uncirculated coins fall between MS60 and MS67. One special thing about Jefferson nickels is that collectors look closely at the steps on Monticello, which is shown on the back of the coin. There are 6 steps that lead up to the building. When a coin is struck perfectly and shows all 6 steps clearly, it is called a full steps coin. Collectors love full steps nickels because they are much harder to find. The dies that struck the coins often wore down quickly, so most 1964 D nickels have weak or blurry steps. A coin that has full steps, you can clearly see at least 5 or 6 separate lines, will get a special label that says FS, after the grade. For example, a coin might be graded MS66 FS, which means it is in Mint State 66 with full steps. These coins are rare, especially for 1964 D nickels, and they can sell for thousands of dollars. That is one reason a 1964 D nickel can be worth a lot of money. But not every uncirculated coin is valuable. Only the best, sharpest, and cleanest coins with full steps get that kind of high value. For example, a normal uncirculated 1964 D nickel without full steps might sell for about $2 to $10, depending on how nice it looks. If it has full steps and a high grade like MS65 FS, it might be worth around $600 or $800. If it is MS66 FS or better, it can go into the thousands. One example of a 1964 D nickel in perfect condition with full steps has sold for about $32,900. That is where the big number comes from. But remember, that coin was one of the very best known, graded by professionals, and confirmed to have perfect details. It is extremely rare, maybe one out of many millions. Another reason a 1964 D nickel might be worth more is because of an error. A minting error happens when something goes wrong while the coin is being made. For example, sometimes the die that stamps the design might hit the coin twice by mistake. That makes a doubled image, and it is called a double die error. If you see that the letters or numbers on the coin look like they have shadows or are doubled, that could be an error coin. There are also other kinds of errors, like repunched mint marks, where the letter D was punched more than once and looks doubled. These small errors can add value, but only if they are clear and verified by experts. Some double-die 1964D nickels have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on how strong the doubling is. Other errors can include off-center strikes, where the design is not centered on the coin, or clipped planchets, where a piece of the coin is missing from the edge. Sometimes a coin can even be struck on the wrong kind of metal blank, though that is very rare for this year. Any of these unusual errors can make a coin more interesting to collectors. However, you should always make sure an error is real and not just damage from circulation. Many people think their coins are errors when they are just scratched or bent. Real mint errors need to be confirmed by grading companies or trusted coin experts. Another special thing about 1964 nickels is that a few coins were made with a very nice finish, called Special Mint Set, or SMS. Normally, there were no special mint sets made in 1964 because the mint stopped making proof coins that year. But a few test coins or special strikes are known to exist, and they look much better than normal coins. They have a satin-like finish and very sharp details. These coins are extremely rare, and they are the ones that can sell for tens of thousands of dollars. A 1964 Special Mint Set nickel-graded MS-67 with full steps is the kind of coin that can bring $32,900 or even more at an auction. These coins were not made for circulation, and they are believed to have been test pieces or special presentation coins. If you found one of those, you would have a real treasure. So when people say a 1964D nickel is worth $32,900, they are talking about one of these rare, perfect coins, not an ordinary one from pocket change. For most people, the nickel in a drawer or piggy bank will be worth only 5 cents, maybe a few dollars if it is uncirculated. But that does not mean it is not interesting. Collecting coins is about learning history and paying attention to small details. Even a common coin can teach you something about how coins are made and how they change over time. If you have a 1964D nickel and you want to see if it might be valuable, start by looking at its condition. Hold it under a light and see how shiny it is. If it looks dull or worn, it has probably been circulated and will not be worth much. If it looks bright and has all the details visible, it might be uncirculated. Next, look closely at the steps on Monticello. Use a magnifying glass if you can. If you can see 5 or 6 clear, separate steps, that is a good sign. Check for any doubling in the letters or numbers, or anything strange about the mint mark. Finally, if you think the coin looks perfect, you can consider sending it to a grading company. They will give it an official grade, and if it qualifies as a full steps coin or has an error, they will label it that way. Coins that are professionally graded are easier to sell and can bring higher prices. One thing you should be careful about is online listings or videos that say every 1964D nickel is worth thousands of dollars. Many of those claims are not true. People sometimes list common coins for very high prices on auction sites, but that does not mean anyone actually buys them. The real value comes from verified sales, not from asking prices. You can look up real auction results on sites like Heritage Auctions or PCGS to see what coins have really sold for. That will give you a more honest idea of what your coin might be worth. It is also important to know that the 1964D nickel does not contain any silver. Some people think that coins from before 1965 are silver, but that is not true for nickels. The only Jefferson nickels that contain silver are the war nickels, made between 1942 and 1945, which have a large mint mark above Monticello. The 1964D nickel is made mostly of copper and nickel, and its metal value is basically the same as its face value. The only reason it could be worth more is because of its rarity, condition, or errors, not because of the metal. To sum it all up, most 1964D Jefferson nickels are common coins that you can find in your change. They are made of copper and nickel, not silver, and they usually are worth just 5 cents. However, there are a few special ones that can be worth a lot more. A perfect uncirculated coin with full steps can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. A rare special mint set coin can be worth tens of thousands, and the very best known example has sold for about $32,900. But finding one like that is extremely rare, almost like winning a small lottery. If you think you have a special one, take clear photos and compare your coin with pictures of graded examples on trusted coin websites. You can also visit a local coin shop or coin show to ask for opinions from experienced collectors. They can help you decide if your coin is worth grading. Even if your coin turns out to be common, you still have a piece of history in your hand. The 1964 D nickel marks the end of an era when the mint was changing how it made coins and trying to solve a national coin shortage. It is a fun coin to study and collect because there are so many small differences and varieties to look for. So yes, a 1964 D Jefferson Nickel can be worth $32,900, but only if it is in absolutely perfect condition with full steps, graded by professionals, and possibly from a rare special mint set. Most coins will not be worth that much, and that's okay. The fun of coin collecting is in the search, the learning, and the excitement of finding something unexpected. Always check your coins carefully, stay curious, and use trustworthy sources to learn what they are really worth. The 1969 Washington quarter is a coin from the United States that many people use in their daily lives. It is a regular 25-cent coin, and it has been around for more than 50 years. Some people say that this coin can be worth a lot of money, even as much as $18,000. But is that really true? Let's talk about what this coin is, what makes it special, and how much it can really be worth. This will help you understand whether your 1969 quarter is just a regular coin or a rare and valuable one. The 1969 quarter is called a Washington quarter because it has the face of George Washington on the front. That side of the coin is called the obverse. George Washington was the first president of the United States, and his image has been on the quarter since 1932. On the front of the coin, you will see the word, Liberty, above Washington's head. You will also see the words, In God We Trust, to the left of his neck, and the year, 1969, at the bottom. The back of the coin is called the reverse. It shows an eagle with its wings spread wide, sitting on a bunch of arrows. Above the eagle are the words, United States of America, and below it are the words, Quarter Dollar. This design is classic and has been used for many years. It is one of the most familiar coins in the country. Now let's talk about what this coin is made of. Before 1965, quarters were made mostly of silver. But after that year, the United States Mint stopped using silver in quarters because silver had become too expensive. Instead, the mint started using cheaper metals. The 1969 quarter, like all quarters made after 1965, is made of copper and nickel. It has a copper core in the middle and a copper-nickel outer layer. If you look at the edge of a 1969 quarter, you will see a thin copper-colored line. That shows the copper core inside. This kind of coin is called a clad coin. It has no silver in it, so it does not have extra value for its metal. In 1969, the U.S. Mint made 3 types of quarters. Some were made in Philadelphia, some in Denver, and some in San Francisco. You can tell which mint made your coin by looking for a small letter on the front of the coin, right next to Washington's ponytail. If there is no letter, that means it was made in Philadelphia. If there is a small D, it means Denver. If there is an S, it means San Francisco. The San Francisco Mint made proof coins for collectors, which are usually shiny and carefully made. Proof coins are different from regular coins made for everyday use. The U.S. Mint made a lot of quarters in 1969. There were more than 176 million made in Philadelphia and more than 114 million made in Denver. That means there were hundreds of millions of these coins in total. Because so many were made, the 1969 quarter is not rare. It is very common. You can still find it in pocket change, in old jars, or in coin collections. When a coin is made in such a large number, it usually does not become valuable unless it has something special about it. Most 1969 quarters are worth their face value, which is 25 cents. If a coin is old and has been used a lot, it will show signs of wear, scratches, and dullness. This kind of coin is called circulated, and almost all circulated 1969 quarters are worth just 25 cents. Sometimes collectors might pay a small amount more, like 50 cents or $1, if the coin is in slightly better shape. But that's not much more than face value. If your 1969 quarter is shiny, clean, and looks new, then it might be uncirculated. An uncirculated coin has never been used in stores or in change. These coins can look very nice and may have a bright shine or mint luster. Uncirculated coins are worth more than regular used coins, but not by much unless they are in excellent condition. A nice uncirculated 1969 quarter might be worth between $5 and $10. If it is in an even higher grade, like near perfect, it might be worth $50 or $100. But those are special cases. Sometimes, a coin can be worth a lot more because of a mistake that happened when it was made. These mistakes are called minting errors. When the mint makes coins, it uses metal blanks called planchets, and large machines to stamp the design onto the metal. If something goes wrong in the process, the coin can come out with an error. These error coins are rare and interesting to collectors, and some can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. One kind of error is called a wrong planchet error. This happens when the coin is made on the wrong metal blank. For example, if a 1969 quarter was accidentally struck on a penny blank, it would look smaller and have a reddish color. That kind of coin would be very rare and could sell for over $1,000 or even more, depending on how it looks. Another kind of error is called an off-center strike. That means the coin's design is not in the center. You might see part of the coin blank showing on one side, and the design looks shifted. The more off-center the design is, the more valuable it can be. If the date and details are still visible, collectors love these coins. A 1969 quarter that is 10% to 20% off-center could be worth $50 to $150. A coin that is very far off-center could bring in even more. There is also something called a clipped planchet error. This happens when part of the coin is missing, usually along the edge. It looks like a bite was taken out of the coin. These coins are quite rare and can sell for $50 or more, depending on how big the missing piece is and how good the coin looks. Another kind of error is called a missing clad layer. Remember that the 1969 quarter has a copper core and a nickel outer layer. Sometimes, the outer layer does not attach properly, and the coin comes out with part of the nickel layer missing. When that happens, the coin looks reddish or copper-colored on one side. That kind of error can be worth $100 or more. There is also something called a double die. That happens when the coin's design is struck twice by mistake, slightly off from the first strike. You might see doubled letters or numbers, especially on the date or the word Liberty. These coins are very popular among collectors. Some double die coins from other years, like 1955 or 1972, are famous and very valuable. For 1969 quarters, a strong double die is rare but possible. If you find one, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on how strong the doubling is and how well the coin is preserved. Now let's talk about why some people claim a 1969 quarter can be worth $18,000. The truth is, most of them are not. Most 1969 quarters are common, regular coins that are worth only 25 cents. The only way a 1969 quarter could be worth $18,000 is if it is extremely rare and in perfect condition. For example, if a coin has a major minting error that no other coin has, or if it is a proof coin in flawless condition graded by a professional grading company, it might sell for a huge price. There was a case where a 1969 double die penny sold for thousands of dollars because it was extremely rare and certified by experts. But the 1969 quarter does not have a famous error like that. So if you hear about a 1969 quarter selling for $18,000, it was probably a unique error coin or an unusually high-grade example, not a regular one from pocket change. The grade or condition of a coin matters a lot. Coins are graded by professional companies like PCGS or NGC. They use a scale from 1 to 70, where 70 means the coin is perfect. If your 1969 quarter is graded as MS67 or higher, that means it is nearly perfect. Those coins are very hard to find because even small scratches or marks can lower the grade. A 1969 quarter graded MS67 might be worth a few $100s, maybe more if it has beautiful luster and strong details. But even then, it would not usually reach $18,000 unless there was something very unusual about it. If you think your coin might be valuable, you can take some steps to find out. First, look closely at your coin under good light. Check for any strange marks, doubling, or color differences. See if it looks different from a regular quarter. Then, look at its condition. If it looks new, shiny, and free from scratches, it might be worth grading. You can also weigh it using a digital scale. A regular 1969 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If it weighs less or more, that could be a sign of an error. Next, you can search for similar coins online. Look at real auction sites like Heritage Auctions or PCGS. See what prices similar coins have sold for, not just what sellers are asking for. Many people online list coins for thousands of dollars, but that does not mean anyone buys them. The real value is what someone actually pays. If you believe your coin is special, you can send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will examine the coin carefully, grade it, and check if it has any known errors. Once graded, your coin will be sealed in a plastic holder with its grade printed on the label. This makes it easier to sell because buyers trust graded coins more than ungraded ones. Graded coins also tend to sell for higher prices because the grade proves the coin's quality. To sum it all up, the 1969 Washington quarter is a common coin that most people have seen or used. It is made of copper and nickel, not silver, and it was made in huge numbers. Most of them are worth 25 cents, even today. A shiny uncirculated one might be worth a few dollars, and a very high-grade one could be worth more. Coins with major minting errors, like being struck on the wrong metal or having a missing layer, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But the claim that a normal 1969 quarter is worth $18,000 is not true. Only a very rare coin with a verified and unique error or perfect grade could ever reach that kind of price, and that is extremely uncommon. So, if you have a 1969 quarter, don't get too excited just yet. Look at it carefully, check for any errors, and compare it to other examples. If it looks special, consider getting it graded. Otherwise, it's still a nice coin and a fun piece of history. Coin collecting can be a great hobby. And even if your quarter is not worth thousands, it can still teach you a lot about coins and how they are made. The most important thing is to enjoy the hobby, learn the facts, and not fall for rumors about coins being worth huge amounts unless there is real proof. Always check trustworthy sources, look at real auction results, and ask experts if you are unsure. That is the best way to find out what your coins are really worth.